Well, hello everybody. This is Mr. Duffick, and I'm going to give you a little introduction to technical writing. This is going to start our tech writing unit that I've come up with and used a few books to compile. We'll be doing this over the next couple weeks during this distance learning period as a way to kind of prepare you for college or for a career and give you a glimpse on how the industry operates. So, first thing is first, what is tech writing? So, formally, you can say tech writing is a way to communicate technical information to others, both familiar and unfamiliar with the subject matter. So, it's basically a way to communicate to these employers, to people in industry, to your peers that have some knowledge of your expertise. You know, if you're a computer software engineer, you have to communicate some of the technical aspects of that career and the work you do to others that may or may not have any knowledge of computer software engineering. Okay. And kind of the phrase that's thrown around here and there to describe technical writing is writing in an efficient and effective manner. So back when I was in high school, I had an English teacher that would always say, "Oh, try not to put fluff into your papers," right? He used this word fluff to describe unnecessary words or details or sentences or whatever that students would typically use inside their essays or their research papers in order to pad it and make it seem longer. It was unnecessary, but you have that instinction to try to make these things as long as possible because it has to be minimum 5 pages, right? You just throw whatever you want in there. For tech writing, that's discouraged. In fact, it's basically illegal. You can't do that. You don't want to do that. Your objective here with technical writing is just making it as small as simple as possible. Okay, but when you do that, when you make a sentence or a phrase or a document as simple as possible, if you're going with the technical writing route, you also cannot forget to put in substance. Okay. Just because you're trying to make things as short and as simple as possible doesn't mean you can sacrifice the substance of a document or a sentence or what have you. And additionally, tech writing, more specifically, it gets into analyzing a problem. Usually, goes pretty in depth to content material. You're gonna use it to evaluate evidence sometimes, depending on the kind of document you are writing. And then, of course, a lot of them are used to draw conclusions, and therefore you can make recommendations or prove your thought process in something, or back up your recommendation if you're recommending something to a boss or a coworker or something. And naturally, depending on the audience that your tech writing document is geared towards, you're going to be writing it in different ways and throwing in and taking out certain things. And there's a whole lesson on that in a couple videos. We'll get into that a little deeper, but it's just important to understand that the audience, depending on which audience it is, the content is going to be delivered differently. So I have some examples of technical writing documents here. Okay, some of them you're familiar with, some you might not be so familiar with. A lot of these are used in industry. So we have proposals. Something you have an idea, you want to purchase a new machine, you want to implement a new process, and you need to convince your boss in a way, or at least try to acquire funding for that idea. So you're going to draft up a formal proposal that I have pictured up at the top center there, in order to convey the information and almost kind of convince whoever you're asking of to grant you whatever you're proposing. Emails and memos. A lot of people don't think about it too much, but email, something as simple as an email and a memo. A memo is just kind of a summary of a communication you're sending out. We don't use those so much anymore in industry now that we have email. But emails can be very technical as well, right? Especially if you're in a large organization and you have to communicate between between different departments in a large organization. You have to make sure your emails are written in a fairly technical manner, so someone in a different department is able to understand what exactly you're conveying to them. Any kind of reports that can be information about how to operate something. It could be findings on an investigation, stuff like that. There's very general or very broad category. Instruction manuals, very similar. If you're purchasing a new machine, you will always get an instruction or a maintenance manual to come with it. And obviously, if you're running a manufacturing facility, for instance, the instruction manual is very important for line operators or machine operators to understand or to know, so they know actually how to do their job, and to make sure they don't, wreck your brand new machine. Maintenance manuals, same deal for mechanics. They have to know not just installation, but what kind of maintenance needs to be performed on it on a regular basis, how often, and stuff like that. Computer help files. So a lot of the students in my class, we use Autodesk Inventor, the 3D modeling software. They've gotten pretty good at using the help files within the software. You can go to the top of the window and you see that there's a little question mark. And you see these all kinds of softwares and websites, and it's the help center or the help button, right? These things obviously have to be written in a technical manner, so people that don't understand how to use these tools will be able to learn pretty easily once they understand kind of the technical terms of what's being used. Podcasts. So podcasts, YouTube videos, like I have at the bottom right here, how to build a PC, a gaming PC. Obviously can be important when it comes to understanding technical writing, right? This person right here is probably throwing out a bunch of terms referencing computer parts, how to build computers, sources on how you get information or where you can buy parts. And so that person had to, when they were coming up with the script or instructing everyone how to build the computer, they had to be very vigilant of what kind of terms they used to describe what they were doing. Blogs and wikis, same type of deal. I know I've had a couple problems with my Ford truck, and I fixed them by going to a couple blogs online. People kind of post their problems, and then other people post solutions and stuff like that. Of course, you have to be technical when referring to that stuff. And then lastly, resumes and cover letters. In this unit, we're probably going to go over them. The English class, I'm partnering with the English teacher. He should go over resumes and cover letters with you. If not, I'll do it later on. But depending on your field of work and your positions that you've had, any jobs you've had, you're going to want to include those terms on your resume or your cover letters in order to adequately describe to potential employers what exactly you have been working on in terms of your profession, right? What do you know how to do? What do you have experience doing? Okay, so what can you actually do with technical writing? Because technical writing is a pretty broad subject. First, I have a little job overview here. If we click that, just goes to collegegrad.com. And there's a bunch of stuff here about careers in technical writing or careers that involve some kind of technical writing. What do they do? Technical writers prepare instruction manuals, how-to guides, journal articles, and other supporting documents to communicate complex and technical information more easily. Yeah, basically what we've gone over toward the beginning of this video. If you go down this website, you can see kind of the median salary here. They said is about 71 grand. Hey, it's pretty good, I gotta say. Gives you information on how to be one, what the market looks like. Looks like the market is growing. Top 3 types of jobs. They even give you some real job offers or job descriptions there from places. Typical duties of technical writers. Determine the needs of users for technical documentation. That goes back to the audiences, determining what your audience is and what they're going to need in terms of a technical document. Then you can just go down here. Use photographs, drawings, and diagrams. You do an instruction manual or some kind of recommendation report, and you're going to have those graphs and those diagrams that point to certain components or certain parts. Exactly that. Then you can just go down the list there. But this page is really helpful in determining what technical writers do, how to become one, what are the benefits of becoming one. It says here that 36% of them are employed professional, scientific, and technical services. Manufacturing is behind them, etc. Okay, so go back here. Cool. And then we can go to any website. Let's see, I chose Indeed.com here. No, thank you. And you can see all of the technical writer jobs that are now posted. A lot of them are on the West Coast. So we have Merced, California here, Washington, LA in California, Virginia, Mountain View, California, Menlo Park, California. So Silicon Valley, definitely when they are producing these pieces of technology, and we have certain manufacturing plants all over California here, they're definitely going to need technical writers or people that know how to technical write in order to come up with the proper documentation for all these pieces of technology or all these processes, or just coming up with certain procedures for how to use them if you're working in like a manufacturing facility or something like that. So you can see how many job openings there are. You could always dig into one of these and see what their requirements are. Engineering 2 years, okay, bachelor's, 60 to 57 grand. That's pretty good, right? Now I can tell you from experience that the majority of people that get into technical writing might have a very strong emphasis in technical writing when it comes to their education, whether that's a major or just a large portion of their schooling. But a lot of people also get into it by going into industry, let's say as an engineer, right? And they have some experience technical writing. They want to, do a change of career, or they move somewhere and a job opens up and they know how to technical write. They have experience doing it here and there. Not their primary job, because I would be an engineer, but they have experience doing it. So they can just jump it right into a technical writing type job, and it's great from there. What else? Example of use. Okay. So technical writing is something that is used very often in industry, and it's actually pretty prevalent on wherever you go. I came up with a little scenario here that kind of highlights that. So I said PepsiCo, right? And PepsiCo isn't just Pepsi, as a lot of people think. They own a lot of products, and not just drinks. They own snacks, right? They have the Pepsi, anything Lay's related, a lot of other sodas, right? It's usually PepsiCo versus Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola also owns a lot of sodas and some snacks here and there, although they make most of their money from their drinks, whereas Pepsi actually makes most of their money from the snack foods, right? PepsiCo owns Doritos. These two go hand in hand, right? Gatorade, that's a huge one. Any of the Tropicana stuff, Quaker Oats, Lipton Teas, all of these chips, Aquafina water. Coke has a couple of their own waters like Smart Water, and I think Dasani. Coca-Cola owns both of those. Tostitos, Fritos, all that stuff. So PepsiCo owns a lot. They have a lot of manufacturing plants that produce all these foods. They're a very prominent company. I worked in the food industry for a few years, so I kind of have an interest in this stuff. Anyway, so let's say a plant manager to PepsiCo one day reads an article about a new cybersecurity threat that he feels can influence his plant directly. Maybe there's a series of cyber attacks in plants nearby or similar industries, and he gets a little concerned that it might happen to his, right? In order to do that, he had to read an article, a technical document that outlined the threat, right? Step 2, the plant manager asks the IT associate to analyze the risk to his PepsiCo facility. So I underlined asks here. That can be done in a variety of ways, right? It can almost be a proposal. Most often it's probably going to be an email, and he's going to have to use some technical terms in there as well to illustrate, what exactly he's concerned about. So that email is definitely going to have some technical writing elements in it, right? Step 3, that IT associate for PepsiCo has to write a recommendation report back to his plant manager that is based on the research and evidence that he gathered from his sources, and whether that was analyzing the PepsiCo facility to look at their current cybersecurity measures to see if they were adequate enough in defending against this threat, or he had to consult some kind of literature He had to do research for journals, articles, probably, a lot of it very new because cybersecurity, there's a big emphasis on it in the last half a decade. So he had to pull his sources together, use his resources to come up with this information. And after analyzing this information to the best of his abilities, he was able to make a recommendation based off of that to his superior. Step 4 here, the plant manager then writes a proposal to corporate on improving cybersecurity infrastructure. So that could mean that the proposal came back, or the recommendation report came back that the IT associate is saying, yeah, we don't have an adequate infrastructure here for cybersecurity, and we should do X, Y, and Z in order to improve it. So the plant manager has to write a proposal over to corporate, right, over to the head honchos over there that control a lot of the money for the corporation, and basically propose, hey, there's this threat. We want to defend against it. This is how much it's going to cost. So they're proposing a plan for them so they can get that sweet, sweet money. And then it can go on and on from there, right? From there, corporate can throw a bunch of different technical documents around. They can do their own research. They're going to write a bunch of other emails and stuff like that. So the process just goes on and on and on, right? They might do an inspection for that facility or for other facilities based off of this recommendation report. So technical writing is really integrated into industry, whether it's manufacturing or engineering or whatever, in like every step of the way, right? It's consistently present. So it's very important to know or have knowledge of how to write in a technical manner. Oh, okay, and that's it. So Babyography, I'm just using a couple books and Google Images, of course, to get my information of, very similar to college textbooks. I also put the standards here for those of you that are concerned about the standards for CTE stuff for California. All right, and then assignment. The assignment for this first component of the technical writing is very, very simple. So you're going to choose an object you would want to create an instruction manual for, and that's essentially it. I will be assigning kind of the unit project for this pretty soon. It's going to be creating a instruction manual for an object of your choosing. I thought that'd be kind of fun, and it'd be a good application to technical writing as we kind of learn more about it. And it's a good deliverable if you have like an interview or something and they want a portfolio of your work. Hey, I created this instruction manual using technical writing. Hire me, please. So all I want you to do is, for right now, come up with an object you would want to make an instruction manual for. And for my class, I want you to leave that object in the comments of Google Classroom on this post. And that way I kind of have a record of it, and I can give you feedback if you need some work on it. That being said, you might want to do a little bit of research on what you might want to, what object you might want to choose for this this manual. Of course, there's like millions of operation or instruction or maintenance manuals online already for you to reference. A lot of them are for technology. A lot of laptop and phone companies put all their manuals online for easeability, which is really nice. So feel free to take a look on there for kind of examples. But either way, it's completely up to you. It doesn't have to be technology. It can be something a lot simpler than that, or a lot more complex, whatever you feel like. But thanks for watching. See ya.